We have all heard the Hadith in Bukhari, narrated by Amr ibn Maimun, who says during days of Jahiliyyah he watched a group of monkeys stone a female monkey to death. He says it was because she committed adultery. He says he joined in the stoning. Now what really caught my attention was justification given by the so-called scholarly interpretation of this hadith, notably by Ibn-ur-Abd-il-Ber, an 11th century Maliki scholar, using the Fathul Bari, the comprehensive commentary on Sahih Bukhari by Ibn Hajar, which I have talked about in detail in my previous video titled How Scholars Stop You from Understanding the Quran, provides a masterclass in theological and verbal gymnastics, which starts off with that these weren't really monkeys, they were jinn who took the shape of monkeys. Now how did he come to that conclusion? No one knows. He just pulled that fact right out of thin air. Then he goes on trying to prove jinn exists. So he goes to chapter 46 verse 29 about the jinn listening to the Quran. Fine, jinn exist. No one ever disputed that. Then he goes on to cite Bukhari 6814 and Muslim 1702 to prove that stoning as a punishment for adultery exists. Then he goes on to prove that jinn can shapeshift into animals, so he used more hadith from Sahih Muslim and Imam Malik's al-Muwatta. Then he goes on to argue that the jinn are mukallaf, a term meaning a person who is morally and legally responsible for their actions before God. So the monkey stoning is justified. But you know what is more sad than ridiculous? Not this whole network of verbal and theological hoops being built that we are supposed to jump through to save a single narration, but the fact that first of all Bukhari putting this narration in his book, it's not related to the Prophet, it's not related to any of his companions, it's literally some monkey business. And that in 1200 years no one thought to himself, this just doesn't seem right, we need to get rid of this. Over the centuries, so many projects were launched with state money from donations from kings and governments to fix and standardize. Bukhari, you have the Unini's recension, you have the Sultani al-Uthmaniyya edition. So this has passed in front of hundreds if not thousands of scholars over the years, and no one sought to get rid of it. Think about the amount of money and time spent on these projects. And not one person looked at the monkey story and said, this is enough. No one ever had the courage to say Amr ibn Maimun could be wrong. Bukhari might have misheard it. Insan, human after all, they could have made a mistake, but no. Where is this ijma we all keep hearing about? Couldn't the ulama get together and come to an ijma about this? To save, as they say, the most sacred book after the Quran, they rather make a mockery, insult and blaspheme against the deen of Allah and the Prophet than to say this was a mistake. They would rather prefer to accuse the Prophet of being a pedophile and that he married a 6-year-old girl. But Bukhari's character is untouchable. And then the sectarians wonder why we dismiss their Persian fairy tale books wholesale. No, I'm not going to, as you say, take whatever agrees with the Quran and discard whatever contradicts the Quran. Tell me, are you going to drink from a pail of water in which even a single drop of urine has fallen? Especially when right next to it is a river of fresh, cold, glacial water, which is the Quran. And the Hadith corpus has more than just a drop. The real reason they don't do it is because they know their entire religion is standing on shaky ground. No matter how many times they use words like Sahih and golden chain and authentic sayings of the Prophet to emotionally blackmail average Muslims into not questioning them and their authority, deep down they all know it's just a house of cards. They take out one problematic hadith today, tomorrow someone will point to another, then another, then another. And before you know this whole religion on hadith collapses. This is why they don't dare touch it. Because it could set off an unstoppable chain reaction. So all they do is juggle classifications once in a while to keep everyone quiet and to keep the facade of an ongoing rigorous authentication process alive. What was once an authentic hadith is now a weak hadith, and what was once a weak hadith is now authentic. If this video challenged you to look at the Quran with fresh eyes, please hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that this perspective is important, helping this message reach others who are searching for these same answers. And if you want to join us as we continue to let the Quran speak for itself, subscribe and turn on notifications.